Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the SHU Student Athlete Sit Down Series. My name is Dan Gardella. Happy to be joined by a rising senior on the Sacred Heart women's rugby team, Isabel Cuddy. Isabel, thanks so much for joining me. And before we get into your play on the field, I want to talk about something that you talked about just last week on the Mud magazine. You released an article titled "No More Fake Smiles," and it talked about your battle with anxiety and how you were able to cope with it and get help through your coaches and your family. But there were some things that touched me and I wanted to talk about a little, where you were on the verge of quitting and deciding to walk away from women's rugby. And you had a conversation with your head coach, Michelle Reed, and you talked through it. What was that discussion like? And just talk about the bond that you have with her after kind of walking through this battle with her.
Yeah, of course. Well, I want to say thank you for having me to start. But freshman year was very challenging, to say the least. And Coach Reed knew I struggled with depression and anxiety, and we've always had a very open relationship, and I've been able to tell her everything. But actually, my assistant coach, Jennifer Solomon, and I have gotten very close over the years, and she's the one that I was on the phone with who convinced me not to quit. Um, Freshman spring, I remember we were doing this one conditioning session and we were doing treadmill sprints. I literally just started crying. I couldn't help myself. I was really overwhelmed. I didn't want to do it anymore. I remember telling them I needed to go to the bathroom to throw up, and I just sat on the ground like crying. It was absolutely horrible. And that after that conditioning session, both of my coaches were like, "Izzy, what's going on?" Coach Solomon knew. She wanted to talk to me, and she took me out to lunch. And that started our bond, I guess you could say. And ever since then, I've been very close with both of them. But Coach Solomon has been like a big sister to me, like always looking out for me. Just absolutely incredible. And Coach Reed too. Like they would really do anything for any of us. And they just told me that this was an amazing opportunity, which I knew, but they reminded me that I shouldn't throw this away. Like I would regret it forever.
Yeah, and we hear stories of Division I or just college athletes in general struggling with anxiety, depression while they're going through their athletic career. While we hear all these stories from that inside perspective, how do you get through something like that?
Well, honestly, in this last year and a half, I've worked a lot on my mental health and being mindful. And it's like the way I talk to myself kind of now that we're at practice. I mean, I tell myself like just one more. I mean, like you're capable, you can do this, like push yourself, that kind of thing. But especially now with the pandemic, I've taken a new look on it because every training session I think about how much I want to be back there doing it, like how much I miss the grind, I miss 6 a.m. lift. And so I tell myself, you need to just push through this workout. And I will be truly grateful to be able to go back and continue playing the sport that I love. So I tell myself like I would rather be doing it and like hurting than not having it at all. So doing it at all is truly something I'm grateful for, and that's how I'm looking at it. Like you would rather do it than not have it, and so like just embrace it while I have it. I mean, I only have 1 year left, which is really hard to believe, but just a lot of self-talk and perspective, honestly.
Sacred Heart, certainly the university has taken strides to helping the student athletes there work through any mental issues or battles that they may be dealing with the heart to heart. Kind of go through that a little bit, go into that about what the university does from their side to kind of help to have those open discussions between athletes and people at the university.
Right. Well, we have a SHU Heart to Heart initiative, and I think that's really great. I mean, every season, every sports team dedicates a game to like mental health awareness, and we all wear like the lime green color. I mean, for my team, we like lace it through our scrum caps, lace it through our cleats, and there's a lot of meetings. There's like committees for it. One of my teammates is on that, and all of the coaches really do make an effort to connect with their athletes. Like I really do believe that, and I know it's challenging for some people to open up about it, but there are so many people who want to help in so many different like programs and initiatives. And like if you're able to step outside your comfort zone and reach out to somebody, like there are people that can help. And I mean, we have all these advisors. We have like Tammy and Kelsey Armstrong is a new person we have, but there just are a lot of resources.
And for where your story was released on the magazine, we talked that you've done work with them. Where can they find this article? Where can people find this if they want to read it more, or read articles that are similar to the experience that you shared?
Yeah, it's just themudmagazine.com. I mean, it's on Instagram, like Twitter, Facebook, everything, but you can just look up the Mud Magazine. And it's an internship I just started like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it's really amazing because I get to write something every weekend. We get like a really rough like prompt, like nothing strict at all, and I get to take it and do whatever I want. And so when they told me on my first week to share a personal piece, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. Like I know I want to share my journey. Like I believe I could connect with a lot of people and especially athletes. So I wanted to put it out there. And a lot of other writers wrote topics like close to their hearts too. And it's really cool to be a part of this group and to have this platform. I'm really happy about joining Mud.
Moving to the rugby side and on the field, you've racked up conference honors. You've really been a staple within the rugby program since you got to Sacred Heart. How have you seen yourself improve on the field since you started playing at SHU?
Yeah, I've seen myself improve a lot with my confidence and my ability to push myself mentally. Like starting freshman year, I struggled so much. I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I wasn't doing well in a lot of areas. But I was able to like channel it into rugby. I mean, I read about in my article, like I would have honestly weekly panic attacks and it was a disaster. But when game time came, I was able to perform. I always had a tremendous amount of anxiety. And there were so many games that my coaches had to talk to me beforehand because I was just freak out. But once the whistle blew, I could just play. It was like everything kind of washed away. I could take all of my energy and put it into that. But I've seen myself grow a lot in terms of confidence on the field. I mean, now that I'm a senior, I've been playing rugby for a while, but I'm just more sure of myself, my skill, like what I have to offer for my team, and a sense of leadership that I bring. So I feel really good now knowing that like I don't have those panic attacks. I don't feel anxious before games. I can just play. Like I'm able to be the person to talk to my teammates and help my teammates who feel anxious before games. And that's been huge for me. Just confidence, like being more sure of myself. And as I build my mental health, and my ability to push myself more. And I want to keep like growing and learning everything that I possibly can.
The women's rugby team has had some unique opportunities. I know recently they got to host the 15U regional camps at Sacred Heart, and there have been a couple other opportunities within the program to expand the exposure of the program and have players play for national teams and so on and so forth. How have those opportunities allowed you to learn more about the game and find little ways to get better from maybe people who are playing it at a higher level?
Well, honestly, it's been really cool having those practices, like seeing them at Sacred Heart with the national team. And I was invited to participate in them, and I took the opportunities. I think I did two of them. And it's just really cool to play with people who have been playing for years and have so much more experience. I mean, even just watching, like the way they think, their game knowledge. I just went and I tried to absorb everything that I could. Like, took my notebook down. I just wanted to be a student of the game. And rugby is such an amazing culture because if you play with different groups, like you will always learn more. Like you can keep learning, keep building your strategy, and it's just a culture that brings people together. I think that's what draws a lot of people to the sport. I mean, it's getting more recognition now, but when I was in high school, rugby was not popular at all. There was like 3 other teams in Connecticut for us to compete against. And now as I've gotten older, I see that it's expanding and people talk about it more. People want to play rugby and it's really amazing. Like it's such a great game.
You talk about the expansion of the game, and especially in the state of Connecticut. The Sacred Heart women's rugby program has only been around for 5 years. This upcoming year is going to be their sixth. How have you seen the program itself grow since you've been there in terms of the teams that you're scheduling and ultimately the results that are coming from these games?
Well, this coming year, actually, we're moving up into like officially D1, Tier 1. So it's really amazing to see. Like this is like the last step, kind of. This is where we were meant to be, like competing in this tier. Like we've reached that goal. And even like when I was a freshman, And when I was being recruited, looking at the team, I would watch games where we were losing like 100-0 against like average teams, just because we were new and learning a lot. And now like we are going to be competing against the best teams in our tier. So from that perspective, like we've been able to, I say we, I mean like my coaches have been able to recruit a diverse group of athletes, like especially geographically, but in terms of skill. And so with each recruiting year, like we're getting new fresh talent, and like we're getting people from Hong Kong. It's just amazing. So we're able to expand our knowledge and our skill set like that. But seeing it from when I was a senior in high school until now is amazing, because this was the goal like the whole time. And it's finally here, and like I'm going to be a senior and I get to be a part of it, and I get to see it like full circle kind of.
Yeah. Well, Isabel, thanks so much for joining me. Thank you again for sharing your story with Mud Magazine. If you haven't checked out the article yet, it's No More Fake Smiles. It's a really moving and powerful piece. Thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck in your off-season training, and can't wait to see you on the field next season.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.